We are gathered today for this global forum against racism and discrimination because humanity is in crisis. COVID-19 has directly impacted our personal, social, economic, and cultural lives. But I also think of a deeper, more malign impact of the virus, which has both revealed and worsened some of the darker sides of our societies. The coronavirus pandemic seems to have caused the surge of an old virus, one that lives not in our bodies, but in our minds: racism and discrimination. In many places, racial inequalities and exclusions have been exacerbated, and racial minorities have been disproportionately hit by the virus or increasingly targeted by systemic violence. Gender inequalities have also risen as lockdown measures have resulted in women losing their freedoms and opportunities. And this doesn't even include the rise of violence against women, both in rich and poor countries. This is a disturbing picture, especially because in recent decades, we have seen much progress in the fight against racism and discrimination. This is manifest in the immense work accomplished by the United Nations and UNESCO to disseminate the principles behind the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to the countries of the world. This declaration states that racism and discrimination can never be legitimate or legal. However, good legal frameworks are not enough to transform societies. I am deeply aware of this as an African American citizen of the United States. Time and again, we have seen how legal progress can be stalled by attitudes and practices of racism and discrimination. Growing up in the South Central area of Los Angeles in the late 60s and 70s, I saw and experienced racism and discrimination in the form of violent arbitrary arrest, segregated schools, dilapidated streets, and countless other humiliating injustices. Only 8 years ago, I was frisked at a market for no apparent reason. Countries have laws banning racism and discrimination, but institutions don't change overnight. As President Biden said in his inaugural address, a cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. COVID-19 reminded us that any progress on the path of freedom from racism and discrimination will be fragile. This is the crisis that humanity is going through today. We are witnesses to a growing rejection of racism and discrimination throughout the world. But at the same time, we lack tools and opportunities to build proper defenses in the minds of people, which can jeopardize our progress. As UNESCO's Special Envoy for Peace and Reconciliation, I believe that we deeply renew our efforts in the fight against racism and discrimination. We need innovative ideas and programs in the areas of education, culture, communication, information, and the sciences. These domains are vital in opening the minds and hearts of people to ideas of tolerance and solidarity. More importantly, we must engage more with ordinary citizens to give them spaces where they can take initiatives and develop the civic vaccines that will one day save us from the psychological virus of racism and discrimination. This is the most powerful approach. I witness it every day in the results achieved by my foundation, the Whitaker Peace and Development Initiative. We provide young people from conflict-affected areas and places with knowledge and skills for peace that they later apply in their schools, families, and communities. This is where I see our role in creating opportunities for people to transform their societies from the bottom up. Inclusion is the direction. To end racism and discrimination and live together in peace, we must learn to work together at peace. Thank you.